I'm going to go over 3 types of passive income that you can generate. And passive income, real quick, is money that comes in regardless of how you spend your time, which means you've got your time freedom to do whatever the hell you want, and you're totally detached from money. Wouldn't it be cool to be detached from money completely? Instead of chasing money, money is chasing you. That's a big deal, because now you can put your heart, your soul, your love where it needs to be, with people, creating experience instead of how the bills are going to be paid. That's what it means to be financially free with passive money. So the first kind that I'm going to show you is something that's available to probably only about 1 out of 50 people. The second type of passive income is probably available to maybe about, I don't know, 1 out of 100 people, if that. And the third kind is going to be available to everybody, so I guess I'm saving the best for last of the 3 types. But, well, I'll get into it. Okay, so the first type is going to be real estate income. When you have real estate and people managing it, property managers and lawyers and advertising firms and all that stuff, that means you don't have any involvement in the properties, so the cash that it generates is passive. You're not involved. I mean, if you want to be a landlord and a manager, you could, but then it's no longer passive, and that's up to you. Some people dig that sort of thing. I don't. So my rental properties are all passive. I have no involvement with them whatsoever. I put the deals together. Once the deals are signed and executed, okay, Mr. Property Manager, take care of it. That sort of thing. Pretty cool. The problem with it, the only problem, is that it requires a minimum 25% down payment. That's if you have excellent credit and all these other things. A minimum of 25% down. That could be a $50,000 investment just to get started. And then your return on investment might be $50, $100, a couple $100 a month, right? So that's the cash flow. Maybe a couple $100 a month if it's a great deal, and you had to put down $50,000, just for example. Who has that? Maybe 1 out of 50 people can do that. So it's not widely available, but it's something you can build up to. So that's the first kind of passive income, and there's a lot of tax benefits for it. It's great. It's probably among my favorite types of income. Well, it is my favorite type of income, but it is among my favorite types of passive income. So number two is royalty income. So royalty is, let's say you had a great deal of success. I don't know, we'll use the first example in real estate investing. You made $1 billion in rental properties and real estate. And so now you're going to write a book about it, because a lot of people, they know your name. They're like, wow, look at this guy, this girl. They're great. They made $1 billion in this particular market. Oh, they wrote a book. Oh, I'm going to buy that book. So you write a book based on your niche that you're just extraordinarily, unbelievably great at, like way better than anybody else that's out there. So you can write a book that people are going to buy because they want to learn from you, because you did it and you're the best at it. So probably less than 1 out of 100 people can really do that and make any money. You publish it, it's all handled by your publishers and who knows what else, and you get a royalty fee. Every time a copy is sold, you earn $1 or a dime or whatever the going rate is for royalty fees. That's passive income. Your personal involvement is not there. You did the upfront work to create the book, which could have taken, who knows, a month, weeks, a year, whatever the case may be, but you get it done, it's done, and now it's off at your publishers. You have no more involvement in that whatsoever, so now the income is going to be passive and you get royalty fees. Again, the only problem with that, because it's a pretty sweet way to make passive money, but the only problem is you could do it, anybody could do it, but nobody's going to buy from you unless you're a credible person, right? And in this instance, credibility means that you are the best in a particular niche, and everybody knows it, so they're going to want to buy from you because you're the best. So, and it doesn't have to be real estate, it could be anything. It could be, I don't know, maybe you are a kite maker that everybody in the world knows about in the world of kites, and so you can write a book about how to make kites and have it published and earn royalties off that, just for example. It doesn't matter what it is, or cooking, whatever. So the third way to make passive money, and this is the way that's available to everybody in the United States and a lot of other countries. It's going to be to get involved in a home business that has a compensation plan, a way of paying you that is both residual and passive. That is something that is available to everybody because it is so inexpensive to get in. It's actually so inexpensive, even if you have no money, you could get in. because you could put it on credit, you could borrow, you could come up with ways to raise money by selling old stuff that you have that you don't use anymore, or maybe cut the fat out of your diet. This was the way that I got started. When I got started, I had no job and no income. And to get into what I got into, my startup fee was like $240. But I had no income, but I still needed the $240. So I got really creative, I got outside of the box, and I came up with 31 ways of raising money without having any money. Totally myth-busting this lie that we're told that you need money to make money. If that were true, I could not have gotten started because I couldn't have made any money. So I busted open that myth that you do not need money to make money. I got creative. I came up with 31 ways of raising money without having any. I came up with the $240 that I needed to get started in my home business that had a residual and passive income plan attached to it. I got started in that. Then I started building the residual and passive income once I got in. And just a couple of years into that, I was able to call off the job search because I never did find work again. I like to say I fired my boss, but really I never found work again. But that was a relief to call off the job search, to not have to go through the Sunday ads anymore and look for help wanted and whatever that I wasn't excited about. It was really depressing me. So to get out of that depression was big, was huge. It affected every aspect of my life and my mental wellness, to be honest. But it was only a couple years of doing that, and I was able to call off that job search. Only a few months after that, I bought a house and I paid for it in cash. I do not have a mortgage. I don't have rent. I don't have to pay mortgage or rent ever again. Do you know how freaking cool that is to not have mortgage or rent and no job? And I can travel and I can go to wonderful places and be with wonderful people whenever I want. It's amazing. It's because of passive and residual income. So I highly recommend you build passive and residual income because it's your freedom. It's your time freedom to do what you want. And if you're one of those weird people that loves having a job, you can keep your job and you can keep rocking that sucker. But you won't be needy for that job's paycheck anymore. That's the difference. Now, most people I know would leave their job, but it's totally cool if you love your job. The point is that passive and residual income covers you so that you can do whatever you want. And by the way, there's plenty of people that do love their job, but their job was taken away from them anyway because the company they worked for found a cheaper way to get the work done that they were doing, so their services was not needed, and they were gone. And because they did not have passive and residual income, they're screwed. They have no idea what they're going to do to not end up on the streets. And they loved their job. It didn't matter. So you have to make sure that you're covered with passive and residual income. I gave you 3 ways to make passive and residual income. If you're not part of the 2% of the population that could take advantage of the first one, which was real estate investing, then you might want to do the third one. If you're not the 1 out of 100 or maybe 1 out of 200 that's credible enough to earn royalty fees from writing a book or whatever, then you probably want to do the third one. The third option of having a home business that builds residual and passive income as its compensation plan is the one that's available for everybody. And not only that, but in my opinion, it's the best one. After I got that sucker going, well, you heard, I was able to call off the job search after only a couple years. And a few months or so after that, I bought a house in cash. And I can afford to travel and do all these things without a job. And I took a month off once, and my paycheck that month, those weeks during that month, was actually greater than the month prior. And I didn't do a damn thing because I was covered. Let's see here. When I die, my passive and residual income streams are going to go to whoever I will it to. And it will keep going for years and generations after my death. Unlike a life insurance policy, your loved ones cash in on it, it's done, end of story, very limited. This is unlimited. Gosh, what else? I can donate more to my favorite charities, namely the Gerson Institute, who heals people of cancer without any medical treatment, just nature, and the King's Ransom Foundation I like donating to. And they donate to rescue children sex slaves from that deplorable industry. And they do a lot of other things too, like feeding starving kids throughout the world, which there's a billion of, as well as rescuing people from human trafficking and children from sex slave rings. I love donating to those places, and I can do more of that now. And what else? passive and residual income. It's your freedom. It's your ultimate insurance policy of every kind: health, life, disability, dental, vision, the whole 9 yards. It covers you if you want to go on vacation, and there's no premiums or deductibles, and you're 100% covered. Gosh, what else does passive and residual income represent? It's that whole umbrella of freedom, of just being able to do what you're supposed to do with your life, and that is create experiences and be a good person and be positively infectious upon everybody that's around you, right? It allows you to do all those things. It also allows you to be 100% genuine. You don't have to bite your tongue anymore. You don't have to worry about being disciplined or reprimanded or having your income taken away from you. You can be yourself, and if somebody doesn't like it, they can't do anything about it to threaten your livelihood or how you're covered. I hope that makes sense. So Google research and YouTube research more about passive income. I've also got my website, tomberkenmeyer.com. You can search that. I've also got fireyourboss.xyz. That one is not a .com. I've got tomberkenmeyer.com and fireyourboss.xyz. Remember, .xyz on that one, not .com. I've got thousands of videos, well over 2,000, and hundreds of blog posts, many of them to do with passive and residual income. Research it and use Google and YouTube as well, so that you're looking at other people's points of views about that topic matter. And build it. Start building it up. Because it is everything to do with freedom and being covered and a stress-free life, a peaceful life, and security and stability and generational wealth that you leave behind for your family that could go to your kids, your grandkids, your great-grandkids, your great-great, possibly great-great-great-grandkids, and so forth. That's how powerful it is. So, hope you enjoyed the sounds of the water. It's one of my favorite places to be. It's so soothing. Right now, everyone's driving to work. It is early on a Friday morning at the time of this video being recorded, so everybody is going to work, chasing the dollar, following money, and I am, because of passive and residual income, I'm doing what I want to do, and money is following me, money is chasing me. I'm not chasing or following money. I did that when I had a job, but I don't have that anymore. It's the complete opposite. Passive and residual money and ordinary earned income money from a job is like night and day. It's like life and death. It's like black and white. There's no gray area there. You're either following money and chasing money, like at a job, or money is following and chasing you, like with passive and residual income. So which of the three are you going to get into? And by the way, after I built this up, sometime after I bought my house in cash, I started buying rental properties. I got into real estate. I could afford those down payments. And I got a lot of property. I got my first 5 multi-unit buildings within a year and a half because I built a home business up first with passive and residual money. Remember, I started with no job, no income. I had to get creative and find 31 ways to raise money from not having any money, just to come up with the $240 required just to fund that so I could get started with the home business to build the passive and residual money. That was my start. And I did it, and just a few years after that, I was able to get into the rental property business that requires a 25% down payment, and I got my first 5 multi-unit buildings in the first year and a half of that business. So that was my springboard. Your home business that is available to you, the one that's available to everybody, you can use it as a springboard, a launching pad for anything you want to do. Yeah, that's the last point I wanted to make about it. If you want to do a traditional business or real estate, or you want to do whatever, that's also an option. That could be your ultimate springboard. Like, oh, I've always wanted to do this, but it costs $100,000 to get started. Well, I guess I'll never do that. No, you can do it. Do the home business first, like I did. Build that sucker up with passive and residual money. And then you can do anything you want. I don't care if it's a $100,000 thing you want to do or a $1 million dream you want to do. It doesn't matter. You build that sucker up because it's passive and residual. And then you can do it. That's how I got into the rental property business. When I had no job and no income, I wasn't going to get started in rental properties because Who has that kind of money to get started at a minimum 25% down payment? Are you kidding? There's no freaking way. So because I did this first, I built it up, and then I could do the rental property business. And not only did I do the rental property business, but I got my first 5 multi-unit buildings in the first year and a half. Who does that? Nobody does that, except the people who are really smart and they start a home business first with passive and residual money. Those are the only people that can do that. I'm just saying. So now I'm going to end this video for real. I think I got out everything I needed to about passive and residual money and the 3 ways I wanted to talk to you about. Research it and do it. And bloom from wherever it is that you're planted, even if you're underwater. I have a friend who was $500,000 in debt, mostly medical expenses. When you have medical expenses, that can add up to $500,000 really fast. But she was $500,000 in debt. Within 3 years, she had that $500,000 paid down to nothing. How? She got involved in the 3rd type I talked about. That's available to everybody, even if you're $500,000 in debt. And she was only making, the only income she had coming in was scraps as a cocktail waitress. That was it. So this was available even for her. It's available for you. She got in, she started building it up with residual and passive income, and within 3 years she paid down that $500,000 to zero and averaging $23,000 a week. And now I know it's much more than that. That was several years ago. I think she's up to like $40,000, $50,000 a week, something like that, something ridiculous. And now instead of just donating to charities, she opened up her own charity. She opened up her own nonprofit to help the troubled youth of America find their vision, their dream, and be on that path instead of the path of what a lot of teens get into, which is kind of a life of crime, some of them more than others. But she's doing really great things with all of that. So it's not even about the money. For those of you that are tempted to take the moral high road, there is no moral high road about being poor. There isn't. If you have tons of money, did you know that money can feed people who would otherwise starve to death and you can save their lives? Did you know you can do all kinds of wonderful things with money? You can help people get to a cure if they have cancer. You can do all kinds of wonderful things with a lot of money. And we can take the money supply away from the criminals of the world who have no problem making as much money as they can, and then they use it to harm the world. We can counter that by making tons of money ourselves and putting it to great work, great causes, and take that money supply out of the hands of the criminals. So that's the point that we'll close on, because I know a lot of you are going to be tempted to want to take the moral high ground, and it really isn't moral at all to justify not making tons and tons and tons of money. There's nothing moral about that at all. I think it's quite sinister to let the criminals of the world have control of the money supply. It's evil. It's very evil. It perpetuates poverty and children getting caught up in sex slaverings because too many good people want to falsely identify the moral high ground as staying poor. So go out there and learn about passive residual money. Make as much of it as you can. It's good for you and it's good for everybody around you, provided that, you know, you're a good, generous person of some kind. That's it. Please share this. This is not being taught in our school system, even though it's available to everybody and it's in the tax code, it's legal, it's available to everybody. It's not taught in our public school system, and you're certainly not going to learn about it at your job. So please share this. And take care, everybody. Bye for now.